You are listening to the Outside the Boards podcast. I'm Danny O'Leary. For most of my professional career, I have worked in mainstream sports for some of the world's leading sports organizations and properties and blue-chip brands, helping to create award-winning omni-channel marketing campaigns, result-driven sales strategies, and impactful brand-building initiatives. But all that work doesn't compare to the fun, excitement, and challenges I've been fortunate to experience working for the king of all sports, polo. For nearly a decade, I've put my heart and ambition into helping advance the sport of polo. I've made lifelong friendships, met some incredible people, traveled to memorable polo destinations, and heard the craziest stories. My goal is to share these people, places, and stories with you and provide a unique behind-the-scenes perspective of the game that breaks all the common stereotypes, all while discussing key issues affecting the sport today and the constructive sharing of ideas, insights, solutions, and best case studies for the purpose of advancing polo globally. Every week, I will have honest conversations with polo industry leaders, enthusiasts, and awe-inspiring people who make this sport great and fun to be around. I hope through their knowledge and their unique perspectives, they will motivate and inspire you. Together, we will explore ways you can make small tweaks to boost your polo business, whether you are a club, event, team, or player, that will amount to big changes in revenue, participation, attendance, and exposure. Saddle up. Welcome to Outside the Boards with me, Danny O'Leary. Danny O'Leary here, and welcome to Season 4 of the Outside the Boards podcast. On this episode of Outside the Boards, I'm excited to introduce you to Mexico's Polo Trailblazer, Gerardo Luis Castillo. In the vibrant realm of equestrian sports in Mexico, Gerardo emerges as a pivotal figure, spearheading Mexico's Polo Fest, now in its third edition in Mexico City. Luis Castillo has been acknowledged by Paddock Magazine in 2022 for his exceptional collaboration and dedication to promoting the equestrian world through the organization of this prestigious event. Gerardo sheds light on the genesis of Polo Fest, tracing its roots to the resurgence of polo's popularity and significant growth in participants. Discussing the deep-seated traditions of polo in Mexico, Gerardo highlights its historical connection with the military, serving as a robust training grounds for warhorses. The Army's prominent team and the existence of polo fields like Campo Marte and the grounds of the National Auditorium reflect Mexico's enduring polo legacy. Charting the evolution of polo in Mexico, Gerardo notes the establishment of new clubs and the crucial support from investors. With over 30 years of experience, he observes a substantial increase in players nationwide, emphasizing the growth in the sport's popularity. In constant search to improve the experience of Polo Fest event, this year's championship will be 16 goals, and in 2025, organizers are working to make the event 22 goals. This year marks 10 years since the death of Carlos Cressida, who was the best Mexican polo player in recent times and winner of the world's most prestigious tournaments. The 2024 Polo Fest event will be in memory and tribute to this great athlete who is friend to Gerardo and with whom he had the opportunity to learn and play with at a very young age. Looking ahead, Gerardo envisions a promising future for Polo Mexico. Gerardo's commitment to maintaining the integrity and growth of the polo is evident, making him a driving force behind the sport's resurgence in Mexico. So without further ado, let's welcome Gerardo Luis Castillo. Enjoy! Gerardo Luis Castillo. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, of course. It's all right.
Okay, all right. It was a tongue twister while I was rehearsing it. But welcome, Gerardo. I really thank you for joining me today on this episode. You're calling me all the way from where in Mexico are you?
I am in Mexico City. By the way, I am very grateful to be in this podcast. And thank you, Danny.
No, absolutely, man. And just for everyone who's listening, you heard from my introduction, you are the founder of Polo Fest, or I should say the Mexico City Polo Open, correct?
Yes, I do. We have 4 years. We are this Polo Fest institution in Mexico. We perform this activity in the Campo Marte. Campo Marte, maybe you heard about it, but it's the best place to play polo in all the country. It's a huge place, a wonderful place. It's basically in the main street of Mexico City, Paseo La Reforma, the commercial area of Polanco. It's an oasis in Mexico City.
Okay.
We performed the first one 4 years ago, just before we have the COVID issues in Mexico and in all the world. So we stopped for a couple of years, and 2 years ago, we start again with this polo event.
So the Polo Fest and Mexico City Polo Open just started booming all over the polo waves globally, on social media and things like that. And it was really intriguing because, it was the first I've seen Mexico Polo really turn up the amplifier on the sport within their country. What kind of differentiated this event from previous events that you had? Why was this one so big and so loud?
Because the main place for polo in the country in Mexico is the Campo Marte, as I told you, in Mexico City. But this place, this polo field, is working since more than 120 years ago. But there were some change in the Mexican government because actually it depends on the military. So for the past 30 years, we don't have really access for that polo field. And we make some agreements so we can use that polo field, who is very sexy for sponsors, for all the people who want to know more about this sport, because it's really in the where things happen in Mexico City. It's the commercial area of Mexico, and the sponsors really like to be in that kind of events because we receive more than 4,000 people. But all the sponsors feel very comfortable to be in that place. And when it comes to polo players, if you are Mexican, you haven't played in the Campo Marte, it's not the same. Once you play the Campo Marte, you can say you are a polo player in Mexico. So that's the difference, basically the difference.
Now, have you always been in polo?
Well, since my grandfather, I've been close to polo. My grandfather used to play polo. I play polo. I still play in polo. I am 60 years old. Actually, my son and my daughter are playing more often polo than me. But I still play in polo with friends. Basically, I really enjoyed this since I was a young. I was very, very lucky because in Mexico, there used to be great polo players. I played with Memo Gracida, with Carlos Gracida, Roberto Gonzalez, Antonio Herrera, and basically they were friends. We played with friends, but we played a very high polo because any weekend, any practice could be a 25 gold practice. It was incredible. In the 80s in Mexico, we have a lot of good players. Actually, we have to work more to perform, to have best players in Mexico, better players, because nevertheless, actually, we are more than 400 polo players in Mexico City. We have to become better players. At this moment, we have to work a lot in Mexico to return that kind of polo we used to have in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah. The United States has, their own issues. I mean, it's not like they think there actually might be more women's players on the higher goal level than they are men.
Yeah.
Men, obviously, being predominantly from Argentina. So that's understood. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Gracida family, which is a household name in polo. We were fortunate to have one of their sons here at Oakbrook a few years back come and play, which was great, as well as some of the members of the Mexico polo team itself. So at what age did you really get into the sport of polo? And did your father, your grandfather have ties to it as well?
Yes, my grandfather was a very active player. My father wasn't. He plays polo, but he don't enjoy it as I do, by the way. I'm very concerned about the polo. I really love the sports. And the goal of the Polo Fest is to get closer to more enthusiastic who want to practice polo. There is a lot of people in Mexico who could play polo. By the way, Mexico is the second country in the world with more horses. So there is not really an explanation when we are only 400 polo players in Mexico. There must be 2,000 players. And the Polo Fest is doing that, is getting closer to the people so they can come to the clubs, they can get closer to the clubs. We have 20 clubs in Mexico, and they could become more polo players. We need young people playing polo in order to perform a better polo level in Mexico.
If I'm going to compare that number to the United States has a little over 5,000 players, but that's across, I think, about 250 clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in retrospect, you actually have more players per club per capita than you do in the United States. Because you mentioned there's only 20 clubs, right?
22 clubs at this moment.
22 clubs?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because like on ours is like an average of 20 players per club. You're looking at about, it's about the same.
Yeah,
almost.
Most less. Yeah. But we would need, Daniel, we need to make this sport more close for the college. By the way, on February, I will open a polo academy in Mexico City. And my goal is to have teams of the different universities. So it will be Polo Arena, but it's, the first step to polo. Then they will go to the grass, to the huge polo field. But we will start this activity because there is a lot of enthusiastic people asking for how can they become polo players. And after the Polo Fest, or during the Polo Fest event, we have about 45 contacts of people who say, I want to play polo. How can I do it? So we saw that as in order to satisfy that interest is why I am opening the Polo Academy next month in Mexico City in the Santa Fe area.
That's awesome. It's very unheard of to even have a polo club, let's say similar to Palermo, that's in the heart of a major metropolitan area.
Yeah, by the way, Palermo copied Campo Marte.
Yeah. Because even like Oak Brook here in Chicago, we're 17 miles away from one of the top 5 major metropolitan markets in the United States. So that's an enormous exposure and ultimately, trickles down to participation. Ultimately, we have 3 polo schools in our area in the western suburbs. So that's great that you guys are doing an academy and then getting into collegiate or intercollegiate polo. Do you think that your collegiate polo program, do you think it would be tied to the United States Polo Association collegiate program and compete up here in the States?
Hopefully, yes. At this moment, the Mexican Federation of Polo is supporting me in every way.
Yeah.
We are trying to copy the best practices in Argentina, in England, and in the States, because at this moment, there is no any school or academy of polo in Mexico, any formal one. So the idea is to be a formal one with a good methodology. That's the goal we have with it.
No, that's fantastic. It really is. I would really hope to see your intercollegiate team come up here because they're in the U.S. The intercollegiate program is highly competitive.
Yes, highly competitive. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of women are playing polo in the college.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there might be more women's teams than there are men's teams in collegiate polo up here. So you're absolutely right. So going back to Polo Fest, this was outdoor, correct? So how many teams participated this year?
Yes, outdoor. In the last one, we have 12, who is outstanding if you consider the Mexican standards of players. 12 teams. Yeah, and by the way, we got 16 sponsors. The sponsors is so important in any sports. If you really want to perform a good event, an outstanding event, you need the sponsors. So we're working with the sponsors in order to make them feel comfortable. They know more about polo. And it's important because if you have more players, more sponsors, more tournaments, you will have in a few years better players. So that's what we're going through.
You said you had 12 teams. Well, what goal level did you guys play at?
Well, we have 2 tournaments. I mean, there were 12 teams.
Mm-hmm.
There were 6 teams playing in the low handicap.
Okay.
The team was a 4 handicap, and we named it high goal, but it was 12.
12. Okay. So 12 for the high.
It's not an standard when it comes to Argentina.
No.
In Argentina, well, they are crazy. They are outstanding. They are out of this world players. In the States, more or less, the standard is a 20, 22 goals tournament. Huh?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, being that it's from Mexico, you have a certain level of goal ratings for your players that are out there on average. So, and putting those teams together, you can 12 is an appropriate number, 4 is an appropriate number. That's what we have in Oak Brook. We have 4 to 6 goal polo, and we also have 10. We've had 12 before, and it's gone up to 14 and 16 in some cases. So, no, that's understandable. So, who ended up winning? Who won the logo for you this year?
Who won? Arco team. Mm-hmm. The patron is Mr. Copel from Tijuana. He plays in San Diego, by the way.
Okay.
His team won. By the way, we received a few players from all around the world. We got players from Argentina, from Peru, from Guatemala, from Spain, from the United States, and I guess there were someone from France. The Polo Fest in Mexico is taking attention at this moment. It's having attention of a lot of players in a lot of places in the world.
Before we dive back in today's buzzing conversation, we would like to give a special shout out to this season's Outside the Boards podcast extraordinary presenting sponsor, Hive 2.0, the pioneers of hard honey, where passion meets palate. Hive 2.0 is not just a beverage, it's a commitment to the greater good. With over 30 years of perfecting ready-to-drink flavor profiles, Hive 2.0 introduces you to hard honey. It's more than just a drink, it's an experience crafted by a dedicated in-house team, including their beekeeper, formulator, and full cycle production squad. They move hives, protect queens, and manage honey production, all to make a difference with hard honey. Why choose Hive 2.0? Because when it comes to taste, there's nothing like it. Each can is carefully crafted, palate-forward experience with a unique story behind every batch. Lightly carbonated for a subtle effervescence, it's a journey from the first sip to the last. Hive 2.0 uses honey, a natural sweetener rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. Unlike refined sugar, honey has a lower glycemic index, providing a slow rise in blood sugar levels. From their hard honey to alcohol-free refreshments, each Hive 2.0 flavor tells a unique tale, from historic Egyptian times to the modern porch-pounding experiences. Whether you're sipping an Atomic Berry's tropical tartness or savoring the nostalgic taste of PB&J, Hive 2.0 has something for every palate. So join us in raising a can to Hive 2.0, a salute to taste, innovation, and the bees. Thank you, Hive 2.0, for sweetening our lives. Listen to the end of this podcast to be awarded with a special discount code when purchasing Hive 2.0 online at www.hardhoney.com. And now, back to the interview. Stay tuned, stay refreshed, and stay curious. You said before our call that you have a date scheduled for 2024.
Yes, we do. We just have confirmation on the Campo Marte because you have to ask properly to the military people. And we have on November the 30th, we already have that date. Save the date, by the way. There were a lot of people from the United States that come to see the last Polo Fest. Hopefully, we will receive more foreign people enthusiastic of polo visiting Mexico in order to see the Polo Fest. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the Polo Fest is not only polo. Of course, we have the 2 finals of this tournament, the Mexico City Open. But we have an exhibition, an equestrian exhibition of the cavalry of the military of Mexico. Mm-hmm. We have the charros. Charros is the national sport, horseback sport in Mexico. They perform a lot of activities in the field. And it's nice to see them. It's very happy people, by the way. It's our version of cowboys, the Mexican version of cowboys. Mm-hmm. We have charros, we have the military. By the way, the military here in Mexico have a brand of horses unique in the world, named Santa Gertrudis. They've been breeding these horses for the last 100 years, and Mexico is proud about that kind of horses. It's a beautiful horses, strong, tall, and very nice in presence.
No, I just want to say, for those who are listening, Campo Marte, you had mentioned that it is owned by Mexico's national defense. So it's a
Yes,
military and government owned facility that it looks like it was designated as a military equestrian club in 1910. Well, it's a very old facility.
yes,
It brings a interesting topic up, Geraldo, in regards to Polo Terry and the armed forces. And I say armed forces and, relating to how the U.S. kind of designates it, because polo was used as a means to train cavalry officers back in the day. And if I recall, Oak Brook Polo, a Mexican polo team or the military came up to the United States often back in the 1920s and 30s to play polo to help train their officers.
yes.
I distinctly remember that factoid up here. Yeah.
Mexico used to have polo team in the military, used to have a few polo teams. There was a tradition, long-term tradition in the military in Mexico for polo, but it changed. When I was young, I used to play tournaments against military teams. At this moment, they don't have an active activity in polo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame. It's a pity because they have a lot of fields, not only the Campo Marte, they have a lot of wonderful horses, a lot of facilities. It's a shame they are not playing polo anymore.
Mm-hmm. So, what's in store for Polo Fest, this next event? Do you guys have the same number of teams? Are there more teams participating?
Well, I guess we will have at least 12, at least. But as I told you, people is looking more to Polo Fest, and I'm quite sure we will have more teams. By the way, we have a team from England who want to come to Mexico to play as a team. So maybe we have more international teams playing in the Polo Fest. We are looking for that.
God, yeah, no. Outside of the polo competition, what else was so festive about it?
Well, we had a fashion show. We have a couple of designers. They went from New York fashion show and Paris fashion show. They are well-known modest designers. So we will have everything you expect about gourmet, all the style and good living, we will perform in there. We have gourmet, we have a few restaurants that serve in the facilities of the Campo Marte. And in part of the agenda in the field, we will have fashion, we will have charros, we will have the military, we will have an exhibition of prison horses and dressage. Basically, it's that what we had. We have the equestrian Olympic team of Mexico that perform an exhibition either in this day. The Polo Fest is not only the games, it's all day activities in the polo field. So at the end of the day, you will see more than 300 horses in the field.
Wow, that's incredible. So what were those dates again for this 2024? What, November when?
November 30.
November 30th?
And we will have at least 12 teams, but we think the handicap will raise from 12 to 14,
Oh, okay.
maybe 16. So we try to have more teams and better teams.
And then you'll still have a lower goal match as well. That'll be 4 goal, or do you think you'll raise that slightly?
Maybe at 4, yes, it's easier to raise the high handicap because there will only be 2 goals of difference than the low handicap.
Okay,
I think it will keep in 4.
got it. Now, outside of your teams and players, who are some of your corporate sponsors with the event?
Well, we have Land Rover, we have AT&T, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, just to mention some of them.
Mhm.
But we have, the Forbes 300 companies are the kind of companies that are working with us at this moment in this kind of event.
Okay.
Well-known companies,
Yeah.
as American Express.
I got to applaud you guys. The branding and content that you guys created around the event for this season was really well done. Whoever was doing it for you, it really, really popped. If it gets someone like me to notice and pick up on it just through your Instagram feeds alone was very, very impressive. I applaud the team behind you that helped put that all together.
Yes, we have a huge team of people working in the commercial issues and the operation issues.
Mhm.
We have some experience in concerts and other racing events. So it was not easy, but it was not that heavy to make this.
What else can we expect going into this next year? What are some of your big plans for the Polo Fest?
Well, the big plans for Polo Fest at this moment, I'm talking with some people in Chile and Argentina. So in the next year, we will have Polo Fest, and we are looking at least to have a 22 handicap polo game.
Okay.
That's our goal. So we have to perform a better experience
Mhm.
for the sponsors and for all the visitors who go to the Polo Fest. We have a lot of entertainment there, but we are clear that the polo must be better.
Yeah.
So in the next year, we will have a 22 handicap game. That's our goal.
Just a game, not a tournament.
A tournament is a kind of difficult
Yeah.
because to move horses and players with that handicap is not cheap and it's not easy. So we will perform an exhibition. And by the way, we're looking to, instead of having only one Polo Fest a year, we will have two Polo Fest a year.
Okay.
One of them will be the Mexico City Open, and the other one will be an exhibition, a really high goal exhibition polo game.
When do you think that will be? Will it be around the same time?
We have to skip the raining season in Mexico. So I guess we will have the exhibition on May. And then on November, we will have the Mexico City Open.
I see.
But
Okay.
we will have two Polo Fest in Mexico.
That's the first I've heard of this. When is the rainy season in Mexico?
It's June, July, August, September, October.
Okay.
Here in Mexico, it's very heavy, the rain.
Yeah, ours is, well, I'm just speaking for Chicago. Ours is like April, May, June. And it could be, any one of those months could be harder than the other.
No, but in Chicago you have snow. So
Yeah.
here in Mexico, we don't have snow. Basically, that's a good notice.
What's the average temperature out there right now?
Well, at this moment, if we come to the Celsius, it's about 17, 18. It's more or less what you have. Sometimes a shiny day, you will have 28 degrees. And the most cold it will be, it's about 5 degrees at night, no, the early morning.
Okay.
So, but in Mexico, you can go out with a jacket, a simple jacket, no problem. Or without a jacket, you don't have problem. It's very nice. Okay, just forget it to make conversion. It's very nice. All the year is nice. We don't have that issue of the different seasons. You really don't feel it.
Now, in relation to kind of going back to what we had first started talking about, just about polo in Mexico in general, well, would you say polo in Mexico is in a healthy place? Has it declined? Is it, going back up?
It declined. It declined a lot.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, I guess the best polo player we got is a 5 of handicap. But if you compare a Mexican 5, maybe in Argentina will be a 3. That's the truth. We have a problem. We used to have, in the 40s, we have the Hermanos Gracida, who was the uncles and the father of Carlos and Memo, that played polo all world around, and they always win. They were outstanding polo the team that we got. There were Pablo Rincon Gallardo, there were Javier Olazábal, Tato Olazábal, Manuel Nava. We used to have a lot of good polo players. At this moment, we don't, but we are working to change that. Mexican Federation is working to change that. And it will change. There is a lot of landlords, owners of club, who is doing nice efforts to change this. Basically, Polo Fest is working to improve the Mexican polo level. It's a goal we have.
What was the most number of players in Mexico at one point?
When I played polo in the 80s, maybe they were only 56 polo players in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
But we have at that moment a very good level. In the 70s, we have an Antonio Herrera who plays a 9. By the way, Antonio Herrera was the first polo player that became a professional player. He really changed that issue of the professional polo player. He changed that. He was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have a lot of polo players, outstanding polo players. And in this moment, as I told you, I am the best tournament in Mexico, and I have only a 12 goals event. So that will change.
Mm-hmm.
That will change.
I was just on the Mexican Polo Federation. I think I counted 19 or 20 member clubs. I mean, that's clubs. Like you could say for in the United States, there's X, Y, and E clubs, but there's probably another 50 to 100 private fields that are out there. Is that the same thing with Mexico? Is there far more venues to play polo than there are member clubs?
There is not really an important number of private polo facilities.
Mm-hmm.
I guess no more than 6 in all Mexico, of people who has his own polo field just for personal use. There is, but not that much. The polo will improve if we have more clubs,
Mm-hmm.
if we have more kids learning to play polo. That's a strategy. And most tournaments, better tournaments with more sponsors, will help this.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we have to work with the kids and the ladies. And of course, the college, all the youngs who assist to college. But at this moment, if you don't have a friend who plays polo, it's a kind of difficult to start playing polo. So the idea with the Polo Academy is to have more youngs trying to play polo so they will become polo players. It's a culture.
Yeah.
Because there's no any explanation why we don't have more players, because we are the second country with more horses in all the world. So to maintain horses in Mexico is cheaper than maintain horses in Germany or Spain or the States. No, so it must raise the number of polo players.
So you said there's about 400 active players right now in Air Mexico?
Well, 400 at least who say they play polo. Active, I guess, no more than 80, 90. Yeah.
Got it.
Yes, it's always the same. A lot of people try to go in and then they, sometimes they get hurt, sometimes they have problems with the money or they have another activities, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But active, more or less 90 players in Mexico.
In 2012, the founders of Outside the Boards witnessed their first polo match and were stunned by the sport's beauty and brutality. Few sports, if any, have these combined qualities. The sport's grace, intensity, and warlike imagery create a shock and awe viewing experience like none other. Combine this with the sport's party-like atmosphere and lifestyle, and you have a recipe for success. Today, the sport has yet to witness its full potential. The industry is fragmented, riddled with politics and inexperience. Outside the Boards was purposely designed to change all that and bring clarity to the sport by introducing best practices, insights, trends, and consulting services to industry stakeholders and interested brands so that they can reach their marketing potential and better navigate the sport. Whether you're a club seeking custom sponsorship and marketing solutions or simply looking for strategic advice, We encourage you to contact us today or subscribe to gain access to industry insights. Visit us at www.outsidetheboards.com or to learn more or email us at info@outsidetheboards.com. Outside of Polo Fest, what are some of the other great destinations for polo in Mexico?
Well, basically, Careyes. Careyes, they have a season on December. It just passed.
Mhm.
It's outstanding season. They receive players all around the world. They went to play polo to Careyes because it's beautiful to play in Careyes. You have the Pacific Ocean.
Mhm.
There are some houses, wonderful facilities, and the camp is very nice. It's very nice to play polo there. By the way, we already have a camp, a club in Cancun. It's working hard and they will improve. But Cancun received the 90% of the visitors in the country. And it's an international destination, so it will improve, that's for sure. The most interesting places to play polo at this moment in Mexico is San Miguel de Allende. San Miguel de Allende is in the central area of the country. It's a beautiful town, really beautiful. When I say it's beautiful, it's beautiful town. But it's very wealthy people that lives. Is something like the Hamptons,
Oh, okay.
just to mention. Okay, so you have in a very small area 3 polo clubs. And this area maybe is 5 polo clubs. But in San Miguel de Allende, you have 3. They are vineyards and polo. By the way, I have one of them there, but it's not a grass field. I have a polo arena, but the other facilities are polo field, a grass, the official size of the polo. But if you go to play there, but you will enjoy it because you have a very nice town. You play in a very nice place and with very nice people, very friendly people. By the way, I know there will be another club in Valle de Bravo. Valle de Bravo is so close from Mexico City. It's an area where you can find a lake, a very huge lake. So there is a lot of activities related to the lake, but a lot of activities, the country yard activities, mountain bike, even the parachutes or hiking. Horses, is a lot of horses, and not basically in the polo activities, but it will be in this year. We will have in Valle de Bravo a club.
Mhm.
So the culture of polo is racing in Baja California, in Los Cabos.
Yeah.
There is a new polo club. At this moment, they are working in Polo Arena, but they are working to have a grass a polo field there, no? In the official size.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful.
But we have Guadalajara, we have Monterrey, Querétaro. We have 3 polo clubs. Querétaro is so close to San Miguel de Allende, and there you find 3 polo clubs. One of them has a golf course either.
Okay. You don't see that very often. Yeah, a polo field or polo club tied to a
No, no,
golf
no.
course.
It's
Yeah.
incredible. It's incredible. It's Balvanera Polo Club.
It seems like Mexico is back on the up and up.
No, in Mexico, you can have a tourism or playing polo. You can play polo in Mexico, you can play polo in San Miguel de Allende, en Careyes, en Cancún, en Querétaro, Guadalajara, Monterrey. It's nice places with tourist interest, and you can play polo.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, is there anything else that you wanted to share with us regarding Polo Fest or Polo in Mexico?
Well, here the Polo Fest is open for anybody who wants to play, anybody who wants to visit Mexico to know more about Mexico. Mexico City is a huge city where you can find everything you are looking for. It's a kind of New York, Las Vegas. By the way, we have all the culture, all the ancient culture, very interesting for all the tourists. So you can visit Mexico to be in the Polo Fest and to know more about Mexico. That's basically an invitation for all your audience.
Yeah, I want to echo that because Michael Butler, the son of Paul Butler, the founder of Oak Brook Polo Club, I recall in a dinner we had for him a few years ago. And I think it just so happens, I think one of the Mexico polo teams was there having dinner with us.
Uh-huh.
And Michael said Mexico City by far was his favorite place to visit.
Well, I hope, Daniel, you visit Mexico to be in the Polo Fest. And why don't you post a podcast? You perform a podcast in the Polo Fest. You will be my guest, okay?
I like that. You're not the first one to say, hey, Dan, why don't you? I might be going down to Florida, the National Polo Center. And my goal is to do a video podcast down there. And I would love to ultimately take that to other places as well, because the destinations for polo are incredibly beautiful.
It could be wonderful for us, for Polo Fest, if you talk with the sponsors, you talk with all the players, with all the visitors, with all the people that make Polo Fest the greatest polo event in Mexico City.
That's great. Well, I wish you all the best with Polo Fest. It has definitely caught my attention. I know it caught the world's attention, what you guys are doing down there, which is fantastic. It's so relieving to hear the increase in participation in Mexico in general for the polo community in itself. So I really applaud you. I applaud your team for what you guys are doing to put it together, modernize the sport from the look and feel to it, which is great. So, Gerardo, I really appreciate you coming on for this episode. It's always nice to get a perspective outside the United States. I will be biased. We do have a number of people here, but to get the polo cultural reference and socioeconomics and how it works over in other countries is always refreshing, because this is a global sport. People forget that. It's a global sport.
Yes, indeed. It's a global sport. Yeah. Of course it is.
And each country might have its different spin on things, but we always go back to that Winston Churchill quote, your polo handicap is your ticket across the globe. And I know I'm not saying that word.
Across the globe, yeah. Yes.
And then it's very true. And then for anyone who's listening, the reason it's true is, being in the polo community, you have a number of offerings, just like Gerardo did, to say, come down to Mexico City, we'll take care of you, that kind of thing. That's what polo is. It's a small community, but once you drop that 4-letter word, the door's open.
It's a small and friendly community.
It is, absolutely.
Once you are a polo player, always a polo player will assist you in business, in a travel, and everything. So the polo player, we share not only a passion, not only emotions, we share something special. So polo players will be always friends.
Love it. Well, again, Gerardo, thank you for being a part of this episode. Did we cover everything? I want to make sure that we're covered everything Polo Fest related.
Yes, as far as I remember, we have everything on Polo Fest. And then I will send you some notes about the next year. As I told you, we will perform an exhibition, a high goal exhibition, the Polo Fest with the Mexico City Open.
Excellent. Well, again, everyone, so November 30th, 2024 is Polo Fest. So
Mexico City.
So everyone, at Campo Marte, right?
Campo Marte. You can check in our Instagram or Facebook all that information. We will post them very soon.
Yeah, and it's polofest.mx is your website.
That's it. It's okay.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, Gerardo, again, I appreciate your time, and best of luck to you for your upcoming event. And I'm sure we will talk beforehand. No doubt about it.
I wish to. Have a nice day, Daniel. Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. We want to express our gratitude to our amazing sponsor, Hive 2.0, for making this season's podcast possible. Hive 2.0 is on a mission to provide an authentic drink experience, offering unique and delicious flavors of hard honey and premium non-alcoholic beverages. It's all about showcasing the quality and passion of the bees' work from hive to hand. Hive 2.0 believes in spreading the joy that honeybees create with every sip, bringing together their life's work with uncharted flavor profiles and the pure aromas of honey. It's a one-of-a-kind drinking experience that you won't find anywhere else. As a special thank you for tuning into this episode of Outside the Boards, Hive 2.0 is thrilled to offer our listeners an exclusive online discount and free shipping on all 4-packs. Just use the discount code OTBPOLO24 in all capital letters when checking out. Head over to hardhoney.com to explore more about the brand's products and mission. Don't miss out on the chance to enhance your drink experience with Hive 2.0's unique creations. Purchase your 4-pack today. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay refreshed, stay curious, and remember to make every sip count with Hive 2.0. Until next time, take care and hope to see you on the polo field. That was a great episode. What is the one thing you learned from today's conversation? If this episode had an impact on you in some way, then I encourage you to visit and subscribe to our website at outsidetheboards.com for more episodes and interviews with incredible guests. Thanks for stopping by, my friends, and hope to see you on the polo field.